Good morning and thanks for joining us for 24 Plus News Live. I'm Kevin McNamara. First, let's get into your top 5. People from Memphis' historic New Chicago area gathered at the proposed site of the new Shelby County Criminal Justice Facility off Firestone Boulevard. Critics of the plan claim the facility would hurt the community for generations to come, and you can hear what they have to say in the matter before any final decisions are made coming up. Here it's 78 degrees in Memphis just after 8 a.m. It's getting hot early. Meteorologist Kit Thomas will have a look at your forecast in just a little bit. And term limits could start to be enforced for Memphis Shelby County School Board members as soon as the next election. That's only if county commissioners vote along with a newly enacted state law, because last week the commissioners voted to put a substitute resolution on the agenda, which would move those synced elections ahead until 2030. Again, the commission voting on that resolution today, starting at 3 p.m. And what started as a regular day at the laundromat turned into a very scary situation when a woman came face to face with a man wielding a bat. 2 men took him down because this all happened at Ellie's Laundromat on South Pauline Street. And we've got the full story, including with the victim, coming up. Finally, a Memphis comedian recovering after being shot at a venue in North Carolina over the weekend. Mario Grove hero Bradley posted on social media that he was there in Charlotte for the For My People tour when he was shot. Now, first responders say one person suffered life-threatening injuries in the shooting, but Bradley says he's now out of the hospital.
Well, as you're headed out the door this morning, here's a look at your bus stop forecast. As we're going out the door, we're looking at lows right around the mid to upper 70s out there. By midday, around recess time, it's going to be 89 degrees. We'll peak around the low to mid 90s around the area, going home right around 91 degrees. Now, the heat index today is going to be right around 99 to 100. It really just depends on how hot the temperatures get and where the dew point is over the next several hours. So it's going to be right around 100 for some of us. Take a look through the forecast, though. We could see some stray showers today. This particular model dropping one right here over downtown, but it really could be anywhere. They're going to be very isolated and very transient. So once they start to fall, it'll wrap up pretty quickly and might spark off another shower or two. That's going to be a little more the case as we go into our Tuesday. We could see more instability and more scattered showers around the area, all of these sparking up new showers around where they start. So if you don't have rain at one point in the day, but you see it's raining over there, it might start raining near you very, very soon, or it may stay dry. It's really hard to pin down where these storms do start in the forecast. Take a look at the 7-day, though. Temperatures are staying in the 90s in the days ahead.
Our top story this morning, again, a Memphis community pushing back against a proposed new jail in their neighborhood. Over the weekend, people living in the historic New Chicago area took to the streets to voice their opposition. ABC24.
We're intelligent enough to tell you what we want in our community, and it's darn sure not a jail.
Neighbors in New Chicago neighborhood rallied today at a site where Shelby County is considering building a new criminal justice facility off Firestone Boulevard.
New Chicago cares about their community, no different from anybody else in the city of Memphis.
The area is a historically black community, once thriving and hoping to revitalize, but not with a jail in their backyard.
We know the jail downtown right now needs upgrades, needs improvements. We need a new jail. The real question is, where do we put it?
Critics believe putting it in that area would create generational harm for the community. And they want a seat at the table before decisions are made.
It's not a hard no, but it's definitely not a yes either.
Will Richardson says the only way the county can build trust is through including its citizens.
This is something that takes time. It needs to be strategic. It needs to be well thought out, but it has to have a part of that recipe has to be the voice of the community.
Protesters offered alternative ideas for the site, including a new public park, a golf course, or even an amusement park.
But talking to the citizens, and maybe we can articulate that there is a need for it here, and we can come to that. But it has to be done on both sides, from an elected official standpoint as well as the citizens.
Again, that was our Shakina Davis speaking. You can see on your screen there now, you're going to be looking at a map showing exactly what that location is. Trying to give you a better idea of that proposed jail. There it is up now. The new 70-acre facility would be at the site of the former Firestone plant on Firestone Avenue, and it would cost upwards of $1 billion, all the way up to $1.2 billion potentially. But right now, the project has not been finalized. Looking ahead this morning, term limits could start to be enforced on Memphis-Shelby County School Board members as soon as the next election. That's only if county commissioners move forward with a new state law. Because during last week's committee meeting, commissioners instead put a substitute resolution on the agenda, which would move the synced elections to 2030. That's when a new 2-year term limit would begin. But right now, that means all board members elected in 2024 and the majority of those who voted to oust the former superintendent, Dr. Marie Fagans, would stay in their 4-year term until the 2028 election. At that time, anyone elected would then begin serving only a 2-year term. If it passes, school board elections would then align with the county elections. We spoke with ABC24 political analyst Otis Sanford about what this could mean for the future of Memphis schools.
If they vote on Monday to put the races on the ballot next year and align them, and also have term limits, it could forestall the takeover measure, because I believe Senator Brent Taylor has said that moving the elections for the school board members would be tantamount to a recall vote anyway.
Again, the commission scheduled to vote on that resolution today at 3 p.m. ABC24 is partnering with United Way for a school supply drive, and today is the last day to donate. Your monetary donations will help us make sure students have what they need to succeed in the classroom. That money will be tracked by United Way's team and given out based on donor zip code. By donating, you are helping children, regardless of their circumstances, reach their full potential. So to be a part, just scan the QR code on your screen there now, or visit our website. Click on this story, find the link where it says donate. Again, today is the last day that you can. And tonight, you're invited to the first Memphis Urban Fashion Week. It's going to be hosted by the co-founder of the clothing brand FUBU, or For Us By Us. It'll kick off with a fitness and wellness boot camp from 7 to 10 tonight. But if you can't make it, don't worry. We have the full list of events posted on our website, ABC24.com. Meanwhile, Elvis lovers from around the world are here in the home of the blues to celebrate the king of rock and roll this week. Elvis Week, it's kicked off, and Sunday, tribute artists came together to sing some of the king's favorite gospel hymns for the gospel brunch. Performers at the Graceland event also had the chance to recite their favorite scriptures. But Elvis Week runs through August 16th with a candlelight visual at the gates of Graceland. Still got plenty more to come, including a new warning this morning about a growing scam where thieves take over your home without your knowledge. Lawmakers are cracking down on what's being called deed theft. That's not all. President Trump ready to take over D.C., why the commander-in-chief is deploying the National Guard to the streets. And a Memphis comedian set to perform in North Carolina injured in a shooting. What we've learned so far.
Well, temperatures today are going to be warming up pretty quickly, starting off in the 70s. We'll be in the 80s very soon. And as we go through the afternoon, those highs are going to be getting up into the low to mid 90s around the area. Now, there might be a brief cool down with a couple showers in the area, but it's not going to be a wide impact for most of us. Most of us do stay dry today. Overnight, we drop back into the 70s, some mid 70s here near the core metro. And then tomorrow, we're back into the 90s once again. Now take a look at the dew points over the next few days here. Yesterday was nice and dry, but they are going to start to creep back up into the upper 70s. It's going to feel a lot more muggy, that heavy, just thick air that once you go outside after you've been inside, you just feel that heaviness in the atmosphere. That's also going to be impacting the heat index. As we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're getting closer to that 105 threshold. That's where it becomes a little more hazardous to be outside working hard and exerting yourself. So be very cautious in the next couple of days. But it looks like we stay in that 100 to 105 range for most of the 7 days ahead. Take a look through the forecast today. There might be a pop-up shower or two. It's not going to be everyone that sees rain, but some of us could get a healthy dose of rain showers by the afternoon. In the evening, most of that should begin to taper off, especially overnight. Then Tuesday, it's a little more widespread. This might be overdoing it a touch, but whenever we have this kind of convection in August, we'll say, you get one shower that sparks up more showers around that. We saw that a couple of days ago on Friday last week. That definitely happened, pretty widespread around the area. It's going to be very similar as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, as we just have these pop-up showers sparking off new showers as well. Looking at the rain chances, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be our best rain chance, but we can't really eliminate it from any particular day. We've just got enough moisture, enough heat, and just enough of the instability in the upper atmosphere to help with these thunderstorms to get started. So be sure to plan around if you have any outside activities. Make sure that you can get inside. 93 degrees today, and your 7-day forecast doesn't change much from there. Only 91 or 92 as different highs for the next 7 days.
A Memphis comedian is recovering after they were shot in North Carolina over the weekend. Mario Grove hero Bradley posted on social media he was in Charlotte for the For My People tour when he was shot. According to our sister station in Charlotte, first responders claim another person suffered life-threatening injuries in the shooting as well. But Bradley posted that he's now out of the hospital. Family and friends of 3 of the victims killed in Lake County last month said their final goodbyes over the weekend. A celebration of life service was held for Courtney Rose, Adriana Williams, and Braden Williams. They were laid to rest in New Bern, Tennessee. They were found shot to death along Carrington Road in Tiptonville on July 29th. The celebration of life service for James Wilson was last week. But the suspect in the case, Austin Drummond, was on the run for nearly a week before authorities captured him in Jackson, Tennessee. He's facing murder and kidnapping charges, and the state is seeking the death penalty. Meanwhile, the life of FedEx founder Fred Smith will be celebrated in a special way because a celebration of life service is set for today at the FedEx Forum on what would have been Smith's 81st birthday. He passed away June 21st, and that event starts at 10, so just a little bit here, and goes till 11:30. That program will feature speakers and musical performances, and ABC24 will be there. This weekend also marked the final round of the FedEx St. Jude Championship and part of the FedEx Cup playoffs there at TPC Southwind here in Shelby County. It was the first time the tournament was held without Fred Smith after his passing. It featured some of the biggest names in golf and a $3.6 million prize for the winner, which went to Justin Rose after a dramatic playoff. Fans we spoke to said they had a great time.
I think it's been a great environment, playoff here behind us. I like the memorial to Fred Smith also yesterday as well. So it's been a great environment, great experience.
The FedEx St. Jude Championship is the largest fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It's raised more than $80 million since 1970. And we have a health alert for the Mid-South. A mosquito-borne virus has claimed a life in Mississippi, making it the first death from West Nile virus in the Magnolia State. According to the Mississippi Department of Health, it death occurred in Washington County. Out of respect for the family, they're not sharing any details about the victim, but they report there have been 10 human cases so far this year. So to protect yourself, avoid the outdoors at dawn and dusk. Use repellent with DEET, wear long sleeves, and get rid of standing water around your home. Taking these steps will help prevent the spread of the virus through mosquito bites. Well, what started as a regular day at the laundromat turned into a scary situation when a woman came face to face with a man wielding a baseball bat. The two men took him down, thankfully, but this all happened at Ellie's Laundromat on South Pauline Street. ABC24's Ezekiel Telemaco talked exclusively to the victim and one of the customers about how it all went down.
Drying and washing his clothes, and he told me that I didn't even be on my phone. And I was like, huh? I didn't understand what he was saying at first because I didn't hear him, so I was like, huh? And he was like, you don't need to be on your phone. I was like, why not? He was like, because he was washing his clothes or something. And I was like, okay. And then he had left.
Hendricks says she thought that was the end of it, but minutes later, police say Joseph Leak came back, and this time he was yelling at customers and swinging an orange baseball bat. That's when two customers, Donald Young and Reginald Harris, stepped in.
I was glad I was able to hold him down instead of shoot him, because we have enough of that going on in the city, and I think it portrays the city in a negative light.
Harris says he never came to the laundromat expecting to be a hero, but he thinks it's everyone's responsibility to help each other.
I didn't come in here to be a hero. I came here to wash clothes. But I think you need to interact where you see a need. And it's everybody's job to do that in the community. That's what made Memphis what it was.
And while many are calling him courageous, Harris says his heart is with both the victim and the suspect.
You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, he's this, he's that. But you know what? My heart goes out to him, too, because I don't want to read about him dead, and I don't want to read about her dead either. I'm tired of seeing that go on in our city. And like I said, you know, we can talk about it or we can do something about it.
Harris says he hopes this moment helps remind people of what Memphis used to stand for.
Back in the day, if they saw you, you know what I'm saying, people intervened. And they even told your parents. There was a thing called pride. There was a thing called morality. And I think that needs to return back to this city.
That was Ezekiel Telemaco reporting. The suspect is being held at the Shelby County Jail on aggravated assault, criminal trespass, and burglary charges. local race wants to do more than just get people moving. They want to bring the community together. ABC24's Alicia Renee is here in the studio with more.
Good morning. We're here with Karen Conley, the CEO of Unite Memphis, and Mr. Quincy Jones, a Unite Memphis board member. Thank you all for being here.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump right in. So this year, you're partnering with the National Civil Rights Museum and even receiving a welcome from Mayor Paul Young. So tell us a little bit about the race and why it's so important.
Well, about 5 years ago, we came to the Grizzlies and the Civil Rights Museum and just said, we want an event that every single Memphian can be proud of, that shows Memphis what it could be, should be, and must be. And so we have a lot of negativity, we hear a lot of negative things, but the city is full of incredible people that need to be inspired to continue to invest to bring Memphis into its best years yet.
Listen, that's already powerful. Look, you already getting deep. Okay. So the event previously, you know, as you were talking about, was called the Race for Reconciliation, but now it's called Unite Memphis. So what inspired the name change?
Well, our event, kind of the top of the funnel event that we have, is a race. It's a 5K or 1 mile event. And so that name, Race for Reconciliation, really kind of embodied both the mission and the type of event we had. But as we look towards the future, we really want to expand and broaden that to something besides just the fitness space. And so we're looking at a Unite Memphis concert and some other things, and wanted to just have a brand that represented a full opportunity to unite our city on many levels.
Wow, that's powerful. So given everything that's happened, speaking on the topic of unity in recent years, murders, crime, rising tension, do you believe that this race can be something to help bring positivity and unity, you know, to the city?
I would say absolutely. I think just the whole presence of the race happening in Memphis, happening on 901 Day, bringing together families, children, people from all backgrounds, different organizations, the private sector, the public sector, people of the faith sector, just people from all over Memphis can participate in this one thing, one day, to unify and to unite Memphis.
Okay, so tell me about, I guess, the impact. How does this event impact you? You talk about the impact within the community and the Memphis area, but how does it impact you personally?
Well, personally, being nearly a lifelong Memphian, a Memphian who went away to school, came back, who worked professionally in other sectors, it gives you the opportunity to give back to the city because you've seen how other cities grow, what other cities have done in similar circumstances just to unify people and bring people together. There are a lot of positive things about Memphis that often get overlooked for whatever reason, but this is one event that takes the impactful things, the positive things that are happening here in the city, places them in a spotlight, and then brings together, again, people from all different cultures, all different backgrounds and families. And there are opportunities for children, for young adults, older adults. There are a lot of celebrities that come out. And so it's a great event, a really positive event, and I think that's something for all Memphians.
Absolutely. Are you all taking any proceeds and giving them to an organization or to children of some sort?
Yes, actually, kind of our two purposes is the first one is for Memphians to believe in our future. We've got to stop believing the negative narrative that is just repeated over and over. We are a city of incredibly philanthropic and generous people. And so the first mission is that. We've got to believe in the future in order for it to come into fruition. But the second thing is we do have issues in our city that we do need to address. And so as an education nonprofit, what we've said is, who are the people in Memphis that are helping close that education gap? And so over the last 4 years, we've given $30,000 to our city partners. Wow. And so that's Peer Power, Leadership Empowerment Center, and the National Civil Rights Museum. And we say if we can educate, we will elevate. So that's one of our taglines. And it's because we believe in the future of our city and want to do something to help everybody be a part of bringing it into its best years.
Absolutely. You speak well about education, so please, at this present moment, can you educate us on the difference? Is it a 5K and 1 mile race? Are you adding a mile? Or can you tell us a little bit about, explain the name so people can get a better understanding?
Well, it is a 5K. or 1 mile. So you can pick 5K or 1 mile. You can walk or you can run. So whether you come out and you're a serious runner and you're trying to get your best time yet, or whether or not you just want to come out and support our city and be a Memphian that is a difference maker, anybody can come out and participate.
All right, so let's wrap this thing on up. How can people sign up and participate?
Go to unitememphis.com. You can register, you can serve and volunteer out there or create a team. Bring your friends and family. If we can get 2,500 people, we'll be the largest walk or run in this country around the topic of unity. And that is a headline that we want to have.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You've heard it here. Listen, I'm going to walk because I do not have my running shoes on, okay? But thank you so much for joining us. We know that unity is power, and it's the bridge to continued success for us all. In the studio, I'm Alicia Renee.
The U.S. military is preparing for part of the Washington, D.C. National Guard to be deployed to the nation's capital. It comes after President Trump vowed to crack down on crime in the city. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details.
This morning, President Trump is set to unveil his plan to crack down on crime in the nation's capital. The president posting he will essentially stop violent crime in Washington, saying, quote, "Before the tense squalor, filth, and crime, it was the most beautiful capital in the world. It will soon be that again." Trump posting, "The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you places to stay, but far from the capital." Trump has suggested in the past that the federal government should take over the city and threatened to have the feds step in after a former worker for Elon Musk's Doge Group was assaulted during an attempted carjacking last week.
We have a capital that's very unsafe. We're going to do something about it.
Over the weekend, more than 100 federal agents were deployed across D.C. in a massive anti-carjacking operation. Trump also suggesting trying young teenagers as young as 14 as adults. City police are now enforcing an 8 p.m. juvenile curfew in parts of the city after a teenager opened fire at a park in the Navy Yard district. Despite recent high-profile events, officials in D.C. say crime is actually down more than 25% from last year.
If the priority is to show force in an American city, we know he can do that here, but it won't be because there's a spike in crime.
Still, the president has suggested sending the National Guard into the Capitol. It comes as a lawsuit goes to court today over Trump's deployment of the National Guard in California to control immigration protests in June. Governor Gavin Newsom suing, saying state officials did not want or need federal interference. Trump's lawyers say the troops were only protecting federal property and personnel, not engaging in law enforcement activities. Of course, the big difference between California and Washington, D.C. is that D.C. is a federal district. The D.C. National Guard is under control of the president. Now, again, we're expecting Trump to lay out his plans at 10 a.m. Eastern this morning. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Turning to consumer news, authorities across the country are warning homeowners and their families about a growing scam. Fraudsters stealing homes.
This morning, a warning about a growing scam with thieves taking ownership of your home without your knowledge. Lawmakers are trying to crack down on deed theft with those scammers taking the title of a property, often by forging documents. In Queens, New York, scammers preying on one woman who was in hospice care.
She could not even turn in bed or feed herself or hold a pen.
The thieves convincing the healthcare aides they were family friends, forging documents and using false notarizations to transfer the deed into their name, even paying the mortgage and liens on the house. The woman's son only finding out when a letter addressed to someone else came, welcoming them to their new home.
Losing a mother to failing health is devastating enough. Trying to protect her home from fraudsters during this time has made that pain and sadness far more difficult to bear.
Those thieves were the first people charged under a new law in New York cracking down on deed theft.
Home ownership represents the pinnacle of years of diligent and hard work and service. And that's why deed theft is such a serious and an awful crime.
And it's not just New York.
My parents passed away, and somehow they found a way to forge the signature.
In Dallas, a man was sentenced to 9 years in prison and ordered to pay $550,000 in restitution for stealing the home of this man's late parents and 19 others. Texas lawmakers introduced laws to protect victims and fight deed fraud while creating new penalties. Similar laws have also been introduced in Pennsylvania and North Carolina, but some have faced legal roadblocks.
Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
New this morning, back to school can be tough for any kid, but it can be extra stressful for students with ADHD, dyslexia, or other learning differences. Take a listen.
It's time to learn again, but for some, processing new information can be a challenge.
For kids with learning and thinking differences, engaging in academics, engaging in just being in new places can be so stressful.
Psychologist Andrew Kahn with the nonprofit Understood.org says these differences are often misunderstood because they're not obvious to the observer. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, dyslexia, which affects a person's ability to read and write, and dyscalculia, which impairs math comprehension, all affect the brain's ability to process information.
For a lot of teachers and parents, when you're in situations with multiple kids, it's often hard to look below the surface and figure out what's happening with these kids.
Kahn says parents play a pivotal role in helping their student with learning and thinking differences to succeed in school. First, empower yourself with reliable information. Understand your child's neurological differences and how they impact the student during school. Then, advocate for your child. Talk to their teacher and school administrators.
At the start of the school year, formulating a little get-to-know-you letter. Here are some strengths of my child. Here are things that they struggle with. And very importantly, some strategies that tend to work for them.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Here are some things happening right now before you go. After about 5 years of battles, the family of a fallen Memphis firefighter has been granted full line of duty death benefits. EMT Jeffrey Scott Ulrich died of a heart attack in 2020 after a 30-hour shift in extreme heat. This, according to his wife, Stephanie. The city of Memphis denied the widow's claim that it was a line of duty death, but with the help of the International Association of Firefighters and Local 1784, the court ruled in favor of the family on July 16th. And the life of FedEx founder Fred Smith will be celebrated in a special way. The celebration of life service is set for today at the FedEx Forum on what would have been Smith's 81st birthday. He passed away June 21st. That event starts just a little bit here, 10 a.m. and goes to 11:30 this Monday morning. And the program will include featured speakers and musical performances as well. ABC24 will be there. Meanwhile, Elvis lovers from around the world are here in the Mid-South at the home of the blues this week to celebrate the king of rock and roll. Elvis Week has kicked off, and Sunday tribute artists came together to sing some of the king's favorite gospel hymns for the Gospel Brunch. Elvis Week runs through August 16th with a candlelight visual at the gates of Graceland. And tonight, you were invited to the first Memphis Urban Fashion Week. That event, hosted by the co-founder of clothing brand FUBU, or For Us By Us. Tonight's event kicks off with a fitness and wellness boot camp and pop-up. Begins at 7 p.m. and will last for 3 hours, but if you can't make it, that's okay. We've got the full list of events posted on our website, abc24.com. And right now, ABC24 is partnering with United Way for a school supply drive. Today is the last day to donate. Your monetary donations will help us make sure students have what they need to succeed in the classroom. To be a part, just scan the QR code that you see on your screen or visit this story on our website and click the link where it says donate. Again, today is the last day you can.
Highs today once again in the low 90s across much of the area. Some places downriver might be a little bit warmer, 94 for Clarksdale and Tunica today. But overall, it's going to be a mostly sunny day with a few of those pop-up cumulus clouds overnight. We're looking at temperatures dropping down to only 76 here in the Memphis area. Elsewhere, lower 70s are expected. Now, over the next few days, we could see some pop-up showers. It's not going to be something that everyone will see every day, but any of us could see it any day in the next several days here. Just that summertime humidity and instability that gets those storms started, and highs and lows staying pretty close to average either side of normal for this time of year.
All right, thanks for that, Kid. And thank you for joining us on 24 Plus News Live. Make sure to follow us on social media to keep up with all the latest news. Just look up ABC24 Memphis. If you miss anything or you want to watch again, you can rewatch the full show for free right here on 24 Plus. Take care.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24 Plus app everywhere you stream.